of you who are in our audience, we appreciate your presence as well. If we could stand, I will have the invocation and we'll have our pledge. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for this day and for all of the blessings that you have bestowed, not only on this community, but all communities. We request that you would join us here in this chamber, that you would grant us just a portion of your wisdom as we deliberate the issues of our city. We pray, dear God, that we will keep you in mind and keep your statutes in mind as we try to move our city and its people forward. We make this prayer in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Next item on our agenda will be our audience for visitors. Is anyone in our audience who would like to address council on any issue? Okay. Let's move on to the approval of the minutes from our regular session, April the 12th.
I move that we approve our minutes of our regular session on April 12th, 2021.
Okay. The motion and second, we adopt the regular session minutes of April 12th, 2021. Ms. Kim.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hucks.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Councilman Canola.
Aye.
Mayor Hessel.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
Okay, thank you, Kim. We have two public hearings. The first one is proposed FY 2022 annual financial plan. It's first reading and we have no action to take on that. Randy, any comments?
We didn't really plan a presentation. We'd be glad to run it over again if you'd like to, but this is first of two required public hearings. This is the traditional budget public hearing, so all of the various items that are recommended for expenditure and the revenues to support it are appropriate to be commented upon during this public hearing. The very short version of this budget is that we're still working through the public health emergency, so we're focused on maintaining the government we have historically provided rather than trying to expand our mission. Our financial base remains strong. And a lot of that has to do with the hard work that went into it before we started with the recession related to COVID-19. It remains strong. There are no new positions in the budget. Very limited new initiatives. In fact, there really are only three. You heard about one of those from the school superintendent and the vice chair, and that is the local support necessary to match the required optional, but if you do it, required 5% pay increase that the governor and the General Assembly approved for all school employees. And there is a 3% pay increase for city employees, which builds upon the 2% that we gave recently in January for a total of 5%. And in terms of relative cost, a much smaller new initiative for public safety physicals for our uniformed police and fire folks who are uniform sworn. And those are the three initiatives in the budget. There is no tax increase proposed, rate increase proposed. In fact, there is a 1 cent proposed reduction in the real estate rate. Be glad to answer any more questions you might have, sir.
Okay, any other questions of Randy before we open the public hearing? Okay, nobody, then we'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anybody in our audience who would like to address our proposed FY 2022 annual financial plan. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and move on to the second one, which is proposed FY 2022 real property tax rate. Randy, you want to address that?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. This is a special public hearing that is required by the Code of Virginia in instances where a community has a real estate reassessment in which the average reassessment is greater than 1% for existing properties, with new construction being a separate category. In our case, our overall assessment was greater than 1%, so separate public hearing, which provides citizens the opportunity to speak to how the tax rate is treated in terms of the budget as it relates to the reassessment.
Questions of Randy? Okay, if not, we'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone in our audience that would like to address the proposed FY 2022 real estate property tax rate. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and move on to new business. First item and only item is an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement for cost sharing with Hampton Roads Sanitation District, HRSD. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening.
City Manager and City Council. My name is Chad Krajeric, the Utility Superintendent. I'm here to talk about the proposed ordinance to do a cost share with HRSD for the Bethel Poquoson force main relocation. The section of force main that we're talking about has been shut off since February of 2020 due to its deteriorated condition. That area starts on the corner of Wythe Creek Road and Carey's Chapel Road, running north up Wythe Creek Road, and ends just in front of Pump Station 3, which is right next to Storage World. The importance of that force main replacement project will allow Poquoson's wastewater to have more than one exit out of the city of Poquoson that ultimately goes to the York River treatment plant. Currently, because that force main is closed, the only route for our wastewater to leave the city of Poquoson is up Victory Boulevard. Because of that only one exit route, it causes a higher than normal operating head pressure, which puts a little more resistance on our city's main pump stations. After HRSD does their force main replacement, that will reduce the operating head pressures and relieve some of the burden on our city's pump stations. So in the spring of 2020, we experienced cracking in our pump station number 5 force main every time the gas company did work on Poquoson Avenue. And what it did is, every time they did some work there, the change in the road conditions caused the main line to flex and show some cracking. And we believe that's due to the age of the Station 5 force main. For that reason, we recommend replacing Pump Station 5 force main, and this will reduce possible breakage and ultimately stopping a potential spill in the future. HRSD has offered to partner up with us to do a cost share agreement to remove our force main so it's out of their way when they replace their force main. They'll have the equipment in place and much easier for them to perform the work and share costs with us to do that work. Because we would be partnering with HRSD, it would save the city close to 3 times the cost if we were to do this project ourselves in the future. The city sewer fund has this cost in our capital improvements budget. And their estimated cost for design, construction, and administration is at $223,895. The sewer fund also has in their capital improvements budget an extra $700,000 in case we were to have any emergencies in the future that needed to be completed. So attached is an ordinance for City Council to consider authorizing the city manager to enter an agreement with HRSD. HRSD plans to start this project in August of this year. It could take up to 6 months. And we believe for us this is a pretty good deal. They're going to be in the area, they can do all the work, and it'll save us money in the long term and ultimately reduce the chance of any spills. So if there's any questions.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Buddy?
Ted, was the existing line a pre-stressed concrete line?
Fiber cement, sir?
Excuse me?
Fiber cement pipe?
Or what? Normally, their lines are pre-stressed concrete with that steel inside of them and concrete on top.
That was the HRSD force main line that failed. Ours is a fiber cement that we're really
Okay.
relocating. So,
Are they going to use a different material to replace it?
yes, sir. They are going to use HDPE, which is a high-density polyethylene pipe, which comes in a roll, cheaper, much more resistant to chemicals. So, better option for us.
The reason I ask is when I was still working back in the dark ages, HRSD bought a bunch of the pre-stressed concrete pipe that the steel inside was inferior.
Yes, sir.
Oddly enough, it was Chinese, and they had to replace miles and miles and miles of it.
Yes, sir. That's what, actually, I want to say it was March of 2020. I don't remember the specific date. I have it written down in my office, but right in front of the dentist office, Mr. Hunt dentist office there was a big hole HRSD was working, and that's how they realized that their pipe is deteriorated, and they shut it off. And they've been working since last year to come up with a plan to do this relocation. So.
Other questions, Chan?
Yes, sir.
The line is in the middle of With Creek.
It's really on the, it would be on the east side of With Creek that HRSD is going to do. So they're basically on the edge of the road all the way from Carey's Chapel there, corner of Carey's Chapel.
But it'll require shutting down a lane anyway?
Yes, sir. They're going to have to do traffic control. And but what they are planning on doing is they're planning on doing it in 50-foot sticks, which will help them do it faster and less road conditions. So, and they know that you know that we asked them to not do work around the buses, and if we have the seafood festival, that they're not allowed to work that week because there's a higher traffic. So.
Questions of Chad? Chad, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
I think I was a little bit more nervous than what I expected. Struggled through a little bit, but thank you for your patience.
You did fine. Okay, looking for a motion.
Mayor, I move that we adopt ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into agreement for cost sharing with Hampton Road Sanitation District.
Okay. All right, we have a motion made and second that we adopt the ordinance.
Councilman Canella?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman?
Aye.
Councilman Hux?
Aye.
Councilman Green?
Aye.
Mayor Hessel?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
Mr. City Manager, got some comments?
Yes, sir. Thank you. And Chad, as a person that also has to do presentations wearing a mask, it sometimes can be much harder than it looks. If you're hyperventilating, you breathe into a paper bag, but you don't do that otherwise. But we have to do our work essentially breathing into one now, so I totally understand. A few things, sir. I want to read this so that I do it justice, but we were reminded recently of today being the 390th birthday of the following. The first reference of Poquoson is believed to be in colonial records of a land grant of 500 acres in New Poquoson to Christopher Calthrop in 1631 by a court in what became the former Elizabeth County. This is located just outside Poquoson city limits in York County in the 21st century area known as Calthrop Neck. The first known reference, written reference of Poquoson is 390 years old as of today. Thank the citizen that called to remind us of that. Thank the library for running that down for us. We have a very difficult to read photocopy of that original court document from 1631. If you'd like to see it, they have it in the library. I would like to also publicly acknowledge Tanya. Tanya's recently been named as Assistant City Manager, Council is used to seeing her, but for those that at home, I just wanted to point that out. We have a couple of other personnel news. Council members, you have, over the past several years, worked at times with Dannon O'Connell, who is our principal planner. Dannon will be leaving us at the end of this week to go on to do a similar job in the city of Charlottesville, where his family is located and where he went to school. And I haven't even had a chance to tell the mayor this, but I'm pleased to announce that effective today, we made an offer and it was accepted for a new city engineer. His name is Sean Crawford, and he will be joining us in about 3 weeks, and he comes to us most recently from VDOT. And lastly, I wanted to just to give the public a preview that we expect the construction related to the first phase of the Poquoson Sidewalk project to begin the week of May 10th. Property owners along that route will be receiving a letter letting them know what's coming and who to contact if they have questions, and we'll be doing the same thing on social media as well. That's all I have, sir.
All right, Randy, thank you very much. Mr. Vice Mayor, welcome back. Glad you're feeling better.
Well, thank you, I am, and I have nothing further this meeting.
Okay. Mr. Green?
Yes, sir. Just one thing, Mr. Mayor, tomorrow, the 27th of April, from 10 to 1, will be the mobile food pantry at the old City Hall of the Parks and Rec building. And our hosts this time are Tabernacle United Methodist Church and the St. Timothy Anglican Church.
Okay, buddy. Thank you. That's a great, that's just a great program. Mr. Southall?
Yes, I'd like to congratulate Tanya on her new position and thank her and Chad for their extra efforts tonight, and for Artie Tillett and the school board for their efforts in their presentation tonight, and for people watching at home.
Okay, bud. Thank you. David?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no comment tonight.
Okay. Mr. Cannella?
Just a couple things. One, just at one of the superintendent's notes on how well our sports teams did this year. It was, I can tell you from coaching football, it wasn't an easy year to facilitate what we normally try to do, but you know, we really have a dedicated group of coaches in all sports and all of our extracurriculars. A really good season for us. Field hockey, wrestling, state champions, so incredible. The second thing, and members of council are probably aware, but on behalf of the city manager and myself, wanted to publicly announce that we've established a scholarship in memory of Graham Wilson. That's been done by myself, the city manager, Graham's family, and some of his close friends. And we have already started raising funds. They've come in pretty significantly in such a short amount of time, and for that we're thankful. And we're going to deposit those funds in a similar fashion that we did raising funds for the carousel and other projects, and that'll be done through the treasurer's office. So if anyone here or listening would like to donate, you can do that through the treasurer's office. You can call his office and speak to him, but Mr. Manager, correct me if I'm wrong, it should be as easy as writing a check to the City of Poquoson for the Graham Wilson Memorial Scholarship. So that's really exciting, something that is certainly well-deserved and will help one, if not more, of our students going to college. So we'll, some more information available for that probably tomorrow, Wednesday, but just appreciate everybody's support on that. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Thomas. And that is a well-done issue that you've helped put together, and Randy, you as well, and for those other folks who are helping with that project. I don't know that you could find a better way to remember Graham. It's something that'll be there with the school system every year. It's just a great thing to do, and I think it's the best way to. Okay, I don't have anything. Anybody else think of anything? If not, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second will be adjourned. Kimberly?
Councilman Canella? Councilman Green? Vice Mayor Freeman? Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilman Hux?
Aye.
Mayor Hessel?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
Thank you, ma'am. And we are adjourned.